Oh, we did get in there.
Oh, we did get in. Oh, we did get.
I think Chris the other day when he was taking off on that 125 miles.
Oh, and it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting ready then.
I should have given one with the answer myself.
There's
Today, but
Oh, she's already in.
I'm not going out.
I don't think she saw you wave at her though.
So we got tape rolling. Oh, she lives in Hope, but she's got a softball tournament. She plays in a lot of Tri-Cities, huh?
Yeah.
No, she lives here, but
Oh, yeah.
Chris's daughter is, so she's. Softball tournament.
What do you really give her what it is? Stickers in your house.
Yeah. The, I call it Dylan Gould. What's that?
Is she not feeling? I get up in the morning.
Where you guys are. No, I was. Yeah, so everyone says they people the box together. They get them. One block away. They have the whole story. So I'll go back and forth down.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to delay our start a little bit. Our city attorney is minutes away. He's going to be joining us. So as soon as Ed shows up, we'll commence.
It's a
What's that?
It's a.
What's that?
It's a. Where you want to
So you're all the way up to these years, you know, they give straight forward. I don't say makes it happen. Please, my house, we are facing.
Unplug them in.
So is this one that collapses?
He's supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just use the whole here, here's. The dogs just.
That collapse.
How they must live. I don't speak. I think it's very close.
Let's see, somebody lives that. They collapse in the boxes.
Everyone, we're ready to start now. A call to order. Call, looks like both councilmen are here. If you just stand and join me with the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. We don't have any additional announcements. So we'll start with public comment. This is a business meeting of the city council. The council values and welcomes public input on matters of city concern. Please address the council as a whole rather than individual council members or city staff. Council action on items brought up in public comment is limited by Oregon open meeting law. Council may direct staff to study the matter and reschedule for further consideration at a later date. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person with an optional 2 minutes for council questions and answers. If you wish to address the council, please come forward to the podium and identify yourself for the record. That should be on.
Good evening. My name is Petra Wright. I live at 103 Eastford Drive, Jervis. I wanted to make a public comment about a road concern. When you're coming into Jervis off 99, there in front of the Dollar General, but there's a big pothole, and I know a lot of people have hit it. And I just wanted to put it on the record that it is an issue. I have spoke with Kyle about the issue, and hopefully getting it on public record will make it so that he can have help getting it out to the county so that we can have that issue fixed. It sounds like there's a bigger concern with that as well. And I just wanted to make public comment and get that out there for people. So maybe more people can come in, get it on record that there's a road issue for the city and help maybe get some of our main roads improved through the county. Thank you.
So Florence, I live at 117 Winfield Street, and we have issues with parking like always. Parking. Today my neighbor addressed the parking that it's bad. They're gonna cause an accident one of these days. And of course, some of the city residents wanted for them to be on the other side to get the parking in. But, I don't, that's big.
Is it because people have a lot of cars on their property, or?
Well, people want their parking back and how it was, but since, and the buses go by there, they don't fit because everybody's all, on both sides. It's too, yeah, and so it's like, But now everybody's parking on their driveway, you know, their, my next door neighbor, he has a little parking spot and they're parking on his, you know, and sometimes he doesn't have a place to park, it's his house. Yeah. And that's one thing, that the other resident gets me, is tell them that we need better parking issue over here. To this street. Yeah. It's a great thing, you know, this county parks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kaylee Skinner. I live at 565 East Elm. Today, I ask for the council to carefully consider Roger Brown's continued employment as city manager. I do not bring this matter up lightly and sadly reinforced from some of his peers. Numerous concerns regarding his ability to effectively manage the responsibilities essential and entrusted to him is become detrimental to our city. Brown's decision to allow Michael Gregory, a previously recalled council member, back on the ballot was not just a mishap, it was illegal. This has forced a special election, causing unnecessary expenses and legal fees, all of which on the shoulder of the taxpayers. The lack of transparency and accountability surrounding this error is troubling and leaving residents confused and frustrated. Additionally, Roger has repeatedly failed in basic city management duties, such as ensuring legal budgetary notices were properly posted, which include errors in the third attempt still. His inability to carry out these essential tasks has led to costly errors at the city's expense. This is compounded with his lack of attendance. When you have a crucial role with proprietary knowledge, I would expect that person to have enough respect for his position to either delegate or to be present. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you everyone for making your comments known. Next thing we move to is, and we would need a motion and a second and a vote for that. We have a second? And a roll call vote, please.
Yes. Yes.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. No committee reports. No presentation scheduled. Next item is a public hearing regarding 2 vacation petitions. Holly, are you on?
Yes, sir, I am here. Can you hear me okay?
You're on, but we don't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I think we had this problem last month, but I'm hearing you folks okay. Can anyone else on the
It is me.
Can anyone else on the Zoom call hear me?
Yeah, that muted her.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's them.
It's different.
Can you hear me now?
Holly, we can't
I
hear
can hear
you.
you.
Okay,
I can
so
hear you.
okay,
With
so
them.
other folks can hear me. Okay. Okay. And I can't chat. It looks like chat is turned off for the meeting. Let's see. Can we try again?
And do you have any?
Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing.
Last meeting, someone called Roger's phone and he broadcasted it that way. That might be a way.
Yeah,
We
I
have
think we're
Roger's
gonna
phone.
have to do that again. Thank you for that. Let's try that.
Yeah.
Oh, you can reach me at 503-871-7164.
I think she needs to.
503-871-7164. There we go.
Hi, folks. Can you hear me okay?
Hi there, I think so. Hang on a second.
Okay, great.
I got you on speakerphone.
Okay, wonderful. The other meeting participants could hear me okay, so it sounds like it's a speaker issue in council chambers. So I will be quick. For the record, my name is Holly Byram and I work for the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments. I serve as the contract city planner for Jervis and a couple other small cities in the Mid-Willamette Valley. My goal this evening is to help the City Council understand the public hearing items that are in front of them. We have 2 items, and as you probably noted on the agenda, both of those public hearing items are proposed to be continued until the following month. So I'll go by those one at a time, and we do need a council motion on both of those to continue them. The first vacation petition is file number VAC 2024-01. This is a vacation petition to vacate a portion of Public City Street. Specifically, this is Cedar Avenue between 6th and 7th Street. So that would be the full street section, which is 60 feet wide by 220 feet long. And then the second vacation petition is VAC 2024-02, and that is for the abutting public alley in Block 58, bound by 6th Street, 7th Street, Cedar, and Douglas. So at the last City Council meeting in September, the City Council by motion set a public hearing date for both of these files. And that date was for tonight, October 3rd. After that motion, staff reached out to city departments and partner agencies and utility providers for comments. And from that request for comments, we received more responses than we expected. There are a couple utilities in each of those street sections. And so staff is working through if the city is able to vacate those streets, exactly which easements need to be reserved and by whom. So for example, a power line easement or a telecommunications easement, a water line easement. And so we're working through those specific details. We need a couple more weeks to get those set. This will require that the applicants hire a surveyor to prepare a legal description that includes a map that shows each of those utilities that have been located in those street sections. So tonight, I gave the council a recommended motion for both of these. And the motion is to continue the public hearing to the next regular city council meeting. And that would be in November. If Roger agrees, it would be, let's see, the first Thursday is November 7th, and it should correspond with the motion provided in my staff memo to you. I'm happy to answer any questions, but tonight we're not really opening up the public hearing for staff findings and public comments at this time. So I would really want to limit the specific questions that are asked.
Anyone have any questions at this point? I don't see a rush to the podium, so it doesn't look like we do. So let's consider the first petition, VAC 2024-01. We would need to have a motion to continue the public hearing on street vacation file VAC 2024-01 to the next regular meeting of the city council, which is Thursday, November 7th, 2024, 7 p.m. Do we have a motion?
A motion.
And a second. Okay. Roll call vote?
Yes.
On to the next one. This would be a motion for, to continue the public hearing on the alley vacation file VAC 2024-02 to the next regular meeting of the city council, which is Thursday, November 7th, 2024, 7 p.m. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
And do we have a second? Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Pat.
Thank you so much, folks. We'll see you next month.
Thank you, Holly. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is old business. Council election update. We have had quite the time with this. I'll give you an idea what the timeline looked like. August 27th, we submitted SEL 101 forms that were certified here and delivered to the Marion County Clerk. We made our deadline there. The 9th of September, a request for review of a candidate eligibility was sent to the Secretary of State. On the 11th of September, the Secretary of State, after many phone calls, emails, declared that Mike Gregory was not eligible to run based upon a 1952 case law, recalled Bennett versus Bennett et al. On the 17th, called a special meeting to set a special election date. Bill Burgess suggested November 26th or December 3rd. However, we were not able to handle it or have that meeting because Councilor Gonzalez didn't show up on time, and I sent him or called him and left him a voicemail, and I didn't hear back from him. So that meeting was not open nor held. On the 24th, we had a special meeting to do the same job. Council selected November 26th, notified Bill Burgess, and requested a calendar for deadline dates. On the 26th, got an email from Bill saying what the timelines were for the 11/26 election. That was received at 3:55 in the afternoon. Several key deadlines were calendared for that same day. We could not have called an emergency session of the city council because we didn't have 24 hours available to us for notice. So that puts us where we are today. I'd like to have Bill Burgess give us an idea of what dates might become available and what the next steps on it will be.
Good evening, counselors, and good evening, Roger and staff. This has been quite an ordeal. And partially because of advice that I given to Roger that I found was not such good advice after all. After conferring with Secretary of State and some of their interpretations, it did cause some problems for everybody, and I apologize for that. Working with the Secretary of State. Working with different time.
Was that, may I join you on that? I'm Ed
Sure.
Trumke, the city attorney, and we both had the same opinion about some things that the Secretary of State overruled us on because they interpreted two cases. And in one of the Attorney General's opinions, they said that in a footnote, they said back in Coos Bay, in one of these cases, a fellow was recalled from, I think, a certain position, and he re-ran for a different position, and the Supreme Court said that was okay. I think you and I have read that and said, okay, well, that makes it fine. But the Secretary of State said here that the city doesn't sufficiently separate the identification of the positions. And so they said, we can't be really sure who's running for which position. And therefore, if you're recalled from any position, you can't run for any other position because we're not sure which one it is. So it was very confusing. You and I think, interpreted the statutes and the code and the case law one way, and the Secretary of State's office interpreted it another. And I fully understand that we disagreed somewhat with Secretary of State. And frankly, in our conversations on the phone, I think some of the staff at the Secretary of State's office doesn't agree with the final interpretation that came out. But it is what it is, and now we're bound by it. So we are where we are. And thank you for coming to help clarify and sort all this out. It's not an easy sort of thing to do when the law is vague.
And nevertheless, we go forward, and our goal in my office is to try to effectuate an election as soon as possible, because it is incumbent upon the city of Jervis that you have a council. You can't do much without a council. It looks like you'll have a mayor right away, but the mayor will be without a council. And we want to do that as soon as we can. We have the complication of another election that's going on right now, and trying to fit the timelines that the steps the city has to go through, and then trying to look at the obligations that we've got to make sure that this election is administered properly. Precluded some of the other times that we could maybe have run that election. And talking with Roger a little while back, it seemed like the only clear time for us was to have the election on January the 7th of 2025. But we've worked it out to where we could squeeze in without, we think, compromising this other election on December the 17th, 2024. And that's the key. We think that we could squeeze that in. It would allow us to get results back to you by January the 13th. If there is a write-in candidate that wins, of course, then it has the highest votes. Then you've got some more steps to take, which would make that election running until, not the election, but your certification running until January 31st. on that one. If there is no write-in candidate that is there, you'd be able to certify that election a bit earlier. And then go about your business. I think you just have one council meeting a month generally, but you might want to have a special council meeting after the election to certify the results of that election. We just certify the count to you. You determine whether the number one, each candidate is qualified, and number two, which candidates win based on the tally numbers that we provide for you. And I was also telling Roger there's a very slim chance that we could maybe run this election on 12/10/24, but that's going to probably would cause a lot of conflicts. And I'm not sure how you would want to word this. I would suggest the election on 12/17/24 with an option of 12/10/24. Well, I'm not sure that that's legal. That'll be up to you guys to determine. And then meet the deadlines that are in statute based on the 12/10 election, knowing that way that you will for sure meet the 10, the ones for the week thereafter. And there are a lot of steps that you have to go through. It's not just clear, it's not just a simple, we determine that we're going to have this election. You have to have findings about an emergency meeting, need for an emergency. Now, that's not just you say you need, it's an emergency election, you actually have to have findings, and your legal counsel can help you with that. And I don't know, maybe you've already done that. Maybe it's something that needs to be scheduled. And it seems that it needs to be scheduled on other than a regular meeting with more notice. So there are a few steps you have to go through here to make this work. And you certainly need legal counsel help to do that, to make sure that you hit all the different things that need to be done. Maybe we should be quite often here for a little bit, because each one of these things takes public notice before we can get this done. But anyhow, I did want to let you know that we determined that we can do the election for you on just a December 17th election. That would mean we would still be processing later ballots from the other election. You wonder why that is. We would have to put the ballot packets together for you about November the 11th to get this done out then and get all of that ready to go, which means we would have to have proof of ballots and make sure that everything is copacetic there, and to develop the voter's pamphlet, because most likely you'll have candidates that will want to be in a voter's pamphlet. The voter's pamphlet is I'm sorry, I left the other ones back there, a really great thing, because it creates a level playing field for every candidate, as long as they can pay the fee, which is, I think, about $50. It's not a lot. And, but each one gets 325 words and gets a chance to put their photo in. And I imagine there'd be a few people that want to do that. This would not be the same type of voter's pamphlet like you just got in the mail a day or two. This will be one that will be folded up and will be delivered in the ballot itself. That's another way of doing voter's pamphlets. And I actually, as of last night, got a commitment of help from somebody who's experienced to help us get this done. You might have some questions and I'll be glad to
follow up on your notice requirement. The Secretary of State's office has said that they would love to see in an ideal world, 2 months notice before an election is called, or when it's to be called. There's no statute or rule that says any particular amount of time is needed. And I think that 2 months is, in an ideal world, that would be nice. We don't have that if you want to get a full council back together as soon as possible. So my personal feeling is that for virtually everything, for the public meetings, 7 days notice is statutorily enough for anything. And 7 days would be the minimum that I think you should do for calling a special election. And so if you want to do this, and before we finish up this evening, it would be good for one of you, if you agree to do this, to make a motion and then vote on directing staff, the city manager and elections official to call a special meeting at least a week from now, maybe more, to set the date and follow through on what Mr. Burgess has suggested is a good date, which would be the 17th of December. That means you wouldn't get a full council in here until probably the end of January, when you proclaim the results of the election and swear people in. But it would be as quick as possible, taking into account that there is a full-blown election going on in November, but you could have it on December the 17th. And you know, the elections officials in every county in this state rely on volunteers to help a lot with counting and things. And you know, we can't ask volunteers to do anything more than what they can do. So we thank you for squeezing it in and working with the city to come up with a workable timeline, because it isn't easy. I've been in elections offices on election night and thereafter, and they're chaos, or it looks like chaos, but they're really not. It's very organized. It gets done properly. But it's a lot of work to run an election. So my thought is you should make a motion to direct the city manager and elections official to call a special meeting at least a week from today at a date that's workable for city council, that works with your schedules, to set the elections date on December 17th.
I'll motion that.
Do we have a second?
You have let's get the date. Dan,
The date to call the date to have the election would be December 17th. And you would be directing right now to have the city manager call a special meeting. So if you look at your calendars, what works out in order to set that date, that's what the recommendation.
make a motion. Second.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
That works.
Yeah. What, confer and give us a date so we can, do our schedule.
December 17th.
For a special meeting, we need to have.
We need to have a special meeting to declare what the date's gonna be. That has to be, that's the 7-day notice that you guys just voted on.
October 10th.
October 10th, next Thursday, is probably the best date. The last day you could do this would be October 18th, which is the following Friday. So you could either do the 10th or the 17th of October to set the date as December 12th. December 12th. December 17th, excuse me. Thank you. I'll confuse everybody here if I confuse the time.
Election law is very confusing.
Very confused. It's spread through so many chapters of the statutes, it's impossible to follow anything through.
Yeah, we should have it here. That's next Thursday.
Either the 10th or the 17th could be,
So if we do it on the 17th, we still got time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 10th? Okay,
but then you'll need to get the packet out, or an agenda out tomorrow for that.
That will be doable.
Okay.
Are we allowed to ask questions? If we have any questions for this part, or are we not allowed to ask anything?
As serious a matter of it as this is, I think questions are certainly should be considered.
Awesome, thank you.
I have a question. Thank you. I'm wondering, since if this is what you said, that voters pamphlet are coming in on the 11th of November, correct? Roughly.
For this
For the
particular
special
election,
election. Yes.
well, no, the voter pamphlet won't be out the 11th. I think the last day to file for the voter pamphlet would be the 14th of November. And then that would give us some time to put it together. And it'd give us at least a week to put it together. And we would mail that out at the same time we mail out the ballots. Would be inside the ballots. Oh, with that, let's see, what's the day?
29th is the last day to mail.
Yeah, the 29th, and we would certainly try to get that, we can mail it on the 27th, and we would try to get that done. The big deal, of course, is trying to get everything put together, improved, and redesigned until we get it going, because we don't want to make any mistakes or as little as possible.
So then I have one more question. I know a lot of people, myself included, have been trying to get the applications. Now, if, we're talking about this time coming up so quickly, should the people have this paperwork already to be filling it out, getting their information to election for the book or the campus?
The voters pamphlet statement you would file with us rather than with the city. And we have yet to get that up for you, but there would be, you can certainly look at the standards we have for this election are still up there now. You could meet those standards as far as the number of words and the questions you have to answer, because those are going to be exactly the same. The timeline for when we can get this up, it was not yet set, but it would be up to give you some time to get that in. We are proposing the 2 days after the day the city certifies all the candidates to us, you would have to get your voters pamphlet statement in, or any candidate get their voters pamphlet statement into us.
What I'm meaning is the people that are going to apply for positions 1 through 5, or whatever. When will they be able to get the applications to fill out to turn in, is what I'm asking.
To be a candidate.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
different, and that will be, the city will determine that, but they will determine that after they set the election date. And it looks to me by this, that the last day that they would want to have it in certainly their attorney would have to look at this, but it seems to me that they would need their application into the city by the 11th of November. That's the last day that they could do it. They would certify that to us the next day, the 12th, And then the deadline for your voters pamphlet statement to us would be the 14th. And then, of course, we've got to hustle to get that into the ballots. In fact, you do have a few out-of-state voters about this. And we could actually mail it to them on the 18th, but we're not going to be able to get everything all put together and ready by the 18th. But we will certainly get it done before the first day to mail ballots to you would be on 11/27.
And just from the city's perspective, the city can't give you or allow you to file your applications to run until after the council sets the date for the election, which will be next week. So, and sometime after that, as soon as Roger can get it done, he will put those up and make them available for you to fill out and it's your signatures to bring in. And so you'll have a month. Should be plenty of time to do. I don't know, how long do you think it'll take to get the forms organized?
Organizing the forms is not an issue because they're available on the county clerk's website. I mean, you can go get the forms now, and just when we say we're gonna open the floodgates so you can turn them in, you turn them in. But they have to be signed on an appropriate date. If they're signed before we open it up, they won't be valid. Am I right with that, Bill?
Yeah. Well, we certainly have the forms on our website. Secretary of State has the forms on the website too. And I'm not sure if the city recorder's office here actually provides those forms also as a third alternative.
All we have to do is pull it out off the website and print them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's all we have to do.
The question is the dates of when you can do this, and that's been thrown because there are lots of statutes that tell us exactly for a May election and a November election, but it's really murky when we get into a emergency special election. It's not just a special election, it's called an emergency special election. And I've been conferring quite a bit with the Secretary of State. They with me on trying to figure out what kind of timelines that we should be using that would be fair.
Oh, and I have a little bit of a concern because people have called the city, asked the city, and we're told, oh, we don't know because we're waiting for Secretary of State. Now you say we can go onto the website. Why wasn't that said previous? I don't understand what the information isn't getting out to people, Roger. I really don't.
We needed to know when a date was going to be set. And you can laugh as much as you want, but I am not going to do anything that is going to cloud this any further than it already is.
I think we were talking about generic forms for candidates that are on the
Yes,
website. They
exactly.
have special dates on them, but those dates don't apply in this situation. So the question is, yeah, you can maybe get the form in time, but when can you really submit it?
Yeah.
And you certainly
When you get the
don't want
information.
to submit it too soon or sign it too soon.
I would think.
And then I guess there may be another question about whether you file by fee or petition. And I couldn't find anything about that.
And then the next question, last question, I promise, would be for those people that had originally applied before the whole dismissal of candidate, do they have to repay that fee if they've already paid it? Or is that something that's going to carry over? Because they've already filed the paperwork for the election and now we have to have a special.
Okay, there are two fees.
There's
Now,
Let me tell you what my take on that is. If someone applied before and they want to apply again, we're not going to charge them a fee a second time. Because that wouldn't be fair.
I can say, I did receive an email from the elections office when I paid my fee to be in the pamphlet for as a candidate for city council. They said they would get back to me, and I still haven't heard any word about where my fee is gonna be at.
Then you're talking about two different fees. There's a filing fee, and then there's a voter count.
Correct.
And Roger's in charge of the filing fee. My office is in charge of the voter stamp fee. We are refunding everybody from the last year. I'm sorry to say that it doesn't work overnight. Like if it were your own business, you could write a check. This is government, it's going through about 10 different layers. It costs us more to write the check than the money we're sending back. But that's part of the idea of government.
So one thing that you need to note is when you reapply, you've got to state what term you want on the form. It's either a 4-year or a 2-year. And if you don't, the form will not be accepted. It must be delineated very clearly.
You have on the thing now positions, so are you not doing the positions 1 through 5, and we just have to say, or is it not positions, it's actually by the years?
That's something the council will decide at the next meeting.
Okay, you made it sound like it had to be, okay.
And the council has to approve how they're going to identify these seats, because there are 2-year terms and 4-year terms. And it may be that you'll say, the council will say, well, the two-year form terms are positions 1 and 2. So you'll say that I'm applying for a position 1 or position 2, or they may say just apply for a 2-year term. That's something they get to decide, not us. And then you'll just have to do it however it's decided at the next meeting.
Oh, I wasn't like complaining that
Yeah,
I
no.
didn't know that part. I was just asking for
And that
clarification,
was-
because I wanted clarification.
That was a significant issue with the initial go-round, was a number of people didn't say whether they were running for a 2-year or a 4-year term. And it was determined by the Secretary of State that nobody here at the city had the authority to say whether you were going to run for a 2 or a 4. And so they said that that really helped invalidate the initial election, was the way the forms were filled out. Because, and that only arises in this city, it only arises when there's been a recall, when a 2-year position is open. Otherwise, it's all 4-year position. I suppose it would happen if somebody resigns too, but people didn't fill out the forms properly. It was a big problem for the first go round when the Secretary of State's office said, gosh, we gotta just stop this and start again for a special election.
Yeah, and I should say there's another consideration too, in that some cities, if there's 3 positions open, or in this case, 5 positions open, the 3 highest vote getters would get 4-year terms, and the 4th and 5th highest vote getter would get 2-year terms. That's very common in Oregon, and it might be something that once council works with the Secretary of State, that may be another option for the council.
We've discussed that with Secretary of State's office. We'll talk about it at the next meeting. Secretary of State has some issues with doing it, but
That's why we have terms.
So the way it's going now, guessing back to the report, there'll be a number on each position, right?
maybe.
Well, yeah, okay, so if that's the case, then when you fill out your paperwork, that number has to be on the paper. You're running 6, 1, 2, 3, 4.
If that's the way council adopts it, you'd have to say which position. Otherwise, it would say, I want to go for a 2-year or a 4-year term. I'm going to recommend to the council that you not adopt the most votes get the 4-year terms and the lower numbers of votes get the 2-year terms, simply because it's not in an ordinance. And the Secretary of State says, it really ought to be in an ordinance if you're going to do it that way, rather than just doing it by resolution, which is what you'd be doing at the next meeting. So rather than cause legal problems and questions and people raising issues, we'll just take the easier path and identify receipts one way or another.
I have one more question.
Research and people I've talked to, it sounds like what you were stating the other way isn't at large, and that's kind of what we've been doing in the past. And by doing it at large and not having the positions, that is how the Secretary of State could not define what position Michael Gregory was in last time. So doing it this way will help further the legal, like, be clear cut. So I agree, we should probably go more so with positions just to cut out any muddy purple.
This is a big learning experience. And for the Secretary of State's office too, I don't know that they've faced all of these issues before. And we have been on the telephone as late as 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Get 3 state employees on the phone that late in the evening. They thought it was important to talk about it. This was not something they knew the answers to. So it's one of those things.
I've been in this business 20 years and this is a first for me. But that's what keeps the business always so interesting and exciting.
It keeps them young.
There you go.
So any more questions?
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
And I'll stick around later in case you lose that.
So we will get the next meeting notice published tomorrow. So that we're within compliance with what the council was set for a meeting day.
We should invite anybody who hears this, either recorded or live, to attend.
Yes, absolutely.
Depending on your special meeting times, not a lot of people can make for the
This
application.
one will be an evening.
Perfect. I mean, people can make evening meetings, hopefully. Afternoon meetings kind of hard for some.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is North Marion Tourism Collaborative Strategic Plan. This is a marketing thing that is funded by grants. And it's for smaller cities in the North Marion County area. And it's to promote tourism. Funded by grants, the grants are administered by the city of Woodburn. City has been participating in this for several years now. And what they're really asking us to do is to provide a comfort letter of supporting it. So that's the crux of all of it. So I suppose we need to have a motion in a second to direct me to write a letter in support of this program.
I'll motion that, Roger.
A motion and a second, roll call vote, please.
Aye.
That's unanimously. Thank you. Now we'll go to staff reports, start with police report.
There, I'm Officer Brad. I'm here in place of Chief tonight. He's in some trainings. So in terms of our stats, we've had for the month of August, 164 calls of service, 1 arrest, 12 traffic offenses, 6 traffic written warnings, 17 agency assists outside city limits, and 1 agency assist inside city limits. Chief also provided an excerpt for me to read you guys. It's regarding the school shooting threats and also just some happenings within the department. I don't know if you guys can hear. Okay. Jervis Police Department was contacted by Jervis School District regarding social media threats regarding the schools. Jervis Police Department and Jervis School District immediately worked together to resolve the issue. Jervis Police immediately contacted community partners, the Marion County Sheriff's Office, Mount Angel Police Department, and the FBI. With the assistance of the FBI, the Jervis Police Department was able to locate and identify the subjects involved, and appropriate law enforcement action was taken. The Mount Angel Police Department and the Marion County Sheriff's Department provided officers to be in the area of the schools to help provide a strong police presence to hopefully help citizens realize that providing a safe environment for the students is important to all law enforcement. This is also a strong indicator that we as a department are working well with our community partners, and it shows by their response. I am very proud of the immediate effort from Jervis police officers. We worked late the first night and continued putting in extra time until the incident was appropriately handled. Officer Navarro attended a baton instructor course hosted by the Hubbard Police Department. This continued training that Officer Navarro attended will help strengthen the skills of all the Jervis police officers. Officer Dryden attended the 2024 Marion County Child Abuse Investigation Training. This training gives her additional training that will assist her in child abuse investigation. Officer Dryden will be sharing some of the training she learned with the rest of the Jervis Police Department. Chief, recently attended the 2024 Fall Chief of Police Conference at DPSST, which is the Police Academy. This training provides case law updates to help law enforcement officers and departments to better understand new laws and how they will affect our communities. Officer Brad, me, has been dedicating time and effort towards ordinance issues. We appreciate her efforts in learning the local ordinances and taking the time to explain her actions to citizens involved. We would like to thank the citizens of Jervis for their support during this time of growth as a department. The Jervis Police Department is committed to strengthening our bond with the community that the citizens deserve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you're up next.
Good evening. Month of September for Public Works is actually not very exciting for once, which is nice. We were able to knock off some projects that have been lingering for a long time. We were able to complete our lead service line inventory, where we've had to document materials of every service line, both on the residential side or the city-owned side, every water service in the city. There are some gaps, some unknowns, but we could say with reasonable confidence that there is 0 lead pipes or services remaining in the city, just due to the fact most all of our water lines, water mains have all been replaced over the years, as well as documented probably in the last 25 to 30 years materials. So that's good. Coinciding with that, 10 random addresses were selected to do every 3 years we test for lead and copper to also cover our bases. With that's required through the OHA, and 8 of those samples come back with none detected on each of them. There were just tiny trace amounts of lead in 2 of those, well under 1/10 of the action level required by the EPA. So it's a very insignificant amount. That could be caused by deteriorating galvanized surfaces or whatnot. Every resident who is involved has been notified of the results of their test. As you can see next door, significant progress has been made on the building, and it's our first, well, I can't say exactly our first, but our only 3-story building in town now. Earlier today, there was a power line clearance issue that was pointed out. So there's a significant response from Portland General Electric to come and run a new power line to that. Luckily, no one was hurt or injured there. The wastewater treatment plant upgrade has been in a holding pattern. We're waiting on parts that are on chips, unfortunately. So that's gonna back it up a little bit. We're able to make some progress this week. The slide gates, which help us control our levels or divert wastewater into one lagoon versus the other. They're being installed right now. And earlier this week, I did notice some erosion taking place around our primary lagoon, the first lagoon in the system. It's kind of concerning, as it is a new development. So next week we'll have some people coming out to look at it and see what kind of action is going to need to be taken. We don't want to have any kind of compromise on the strength or integrity of that, because swimming. And we have one other construction project getting ready to start middle of this month. It's at the end of Alder Street. It's another apartment building. There'll be significant street improvements, including new curbs, gutter, watering main extension, storm and sewer as well. So that'll hopefully not affect traffic too much there. We had our pre-construction meeting with them. Concerns were brought up about traffic during school hours. So we're going to be working with the contractors with that. And lastly, the job posting for a utility worker was not gaining much traction. So with Roger's recommendation, we did put it up on Indeed and have received a significant number of applications, which I believe we'll start reviewing Monday next week. Hopefully we can narrow that down, find a good candidate, especially with one of the employees will be leaving on maternity leave sometime in November. But otherwise, everything else has been going pretty good here. Thank you.
Can I ask a question too? Sure. You were talking about the small trace of lead. Was that on the homeowner side? Did you say that? I didn't hear that.
The question was there was 2 addresses with trace amounts of lead. They actually pull the samples from inside of their house. So we, with the way the sampling's taken, we don't know if it is from, the service side or in their house. They take it from a faucet or a sink that's been undisturbed for a minimum of 8 hours. So that way anything else can settle out, and it eliminates it from essentially being a fixture right then and there. It'll have the same result as if you pulled it out of the main, but there is, low brass, no brass connections. Even a lot of the old copper services have low lead solder in there. So there's a lot of different ways, but the addresses located throughout the city, with the majority of them being then detected, leads me to believe personally that it was something inside of their household plumbing causing that. But it was just an insignificant amount.
Thank you.
Can you, just for people that may not know, can you elaborate a little bit on the Alder apartment complex, just kind of where it's going to be and how many?
Okay. Question was kind of a brief explanation for those who were not there for the public hearing and comments. At the end of Alder, the intersection of First and Alder, if you head east towards 99 on Alder, it dead ends there. There was a roughly half-acre size lot that was purchased, and they adjusted the lot lines to develop it and put a apartment complex in there. So the developer proposed several different designs that have been reviewed multiple times through the city planner, city engineer, myself, city manager, and they were able to meet all of the city requirements, including parking, which is one, recreational space, stormwater treatment, fire flow. So they're going to be, like I said, installing a new water main there. It is a fairly low traffic area of the city until school is letting out or getting in. So there will be construction in that road. So when we do start, they're going to give us as much notice as they can before they tear into the road. They'll be required to have the traffic control and then work with schools, and so they know where could be any changes.
Is there an estimated number of how many is there to be fixed?
I believe 8 units. I have the plans back in 8, 12. I did a lot of them. They, as far as the parking, like the city requires a minimum of 1.5 parking spots per unit, and they were able to meet two spots per unit. So, but parking has already been brought up. I've been in contact with the residents surrounding there, and we'll get that.
Thanks, Kyle. And as a side note on the Albert Street project, we received their performance bond for public construction this afternoon. So I suspect they're going to be getting with it here pretty quickly. My report, significant time has been spent on a recall and special election activities. All of our wastewater treatment plant payments are on track. It's taken more time than anticipated to fill the city clerk position. The response from our city website and Craigslist were lukewarm at best. So we went the route of posting it on Indeed.com. Within 2 weeks, we got 181 applicants. It's been narrowed down by a scoring system. We got 3 finalists that we will be interviewing next week, and we will be making an offer. Similar results with the public works utility worker as of this afternoon. After 3 or 4 days on Indeed, we got 104 applicants. So I think we got a pretty good pool of folks there from just the ones that I've read at a high level. Some of the resumes are really a lot of quality people there. So I think we'll get both of these positions wrapped up. That's all from me. Is there any additional business from the council? Nope.
No.
Hearing none, we'll adjourn this meeting at 8:08. Thank you all for coming.
It's a lot. Pretty sad community. This one went long. Yeah, sometimes they take. I'm sorry to say hi. I voted for you. Oh, thank you. Thank you.